Hey everyone, Nicholas Brown here, the co-host of Still City Commuters podcast and an honorary Jagoff for two Jagoffs. And along today, we have Austin Carnes with me. And today we're going to do a year in review with the one and only Austin, as it's been 1 year almost since I have met and Austin has taken me under his wing. There's a lot to get to. Austin, it's good to see you. Good to catch up with you. Hope you're doing well.
It's great to be back on Zoom with you once more, Nicholas Brown. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Very much appreciate it.
There's a lot to talk about, specifically all the industries that you've been a part of because you've been parts a lot of them. But first, let's start off with podcasting because that is a major expertise in your field. We launched Still City Commuters almost 1 year ago in December last year when we were in a class at Point Park. That's how we met each other. And since then, we have launched Still City. I have also become part of two Jagoffs. But let's start with Still City, as that is an evolving podcast within the Point Park community.
Of course, Steel City Commuters is the podcast, as you just mentioned. We both started in a class, Professor Issa to be specifically, for media storytelling. And we thought it was pretty cool because we would always talk about football every single day going into the class. And then eventually it took off into its own thing where we got to do a weekly episode. Of course, we post every Wednesday on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. We've had the chance to do a few crossover episodes with two Jagoffs, which I know we'll get into in a second. We've also had some of our own guests on as well that's only been part of Steel City, like the Megan Lukiches of the world, the Ryan Quinns of the world, the Sherry Paynes of the world, the McKenna Smiths. So we've had a lot of great guests that's been Steel City exclusives, which I think is pretty cool because although Two Jagoffs is the more established podcast, you can definitely see with some of our Steel City episodes that it's up and coming and it's evolving day by day.
Can you speak to the difference between Still City and Two Jagoffs? What makes each of the podcasts stand out? Specifically, Two Jagoffs with it hitting 3 years this year. So big congrats to you on that.
Thank you. Certainly a big milestone. Two Jagoffs has now hit 3 years old. Again, I started that actually in this bedroom that you are seeing in the background right now, and we went to two different studios since. Now we're currently at Point Park's Media Hub. That's where we reside. But the big difference between the two, and I can't stress this enough, is I have different co-hosts. On Two Jagoffs, I host with Lucas Coons every single week. My dad also hops on as well every once in a while. He's one of the part of the intertwining Jagoffs, but Lucas is my main co-host on Two Jagoffs. He's the second Jagoff. You are the 50% Steel City commuter. That hence is the name. I'm a commuter. You're a commuter student. We are the Steel City commuters. Now, that doesn't mean you're not a part of the Two Jagoffs podcast. Like you mentioned in your intro, you're an honorary Jagoff, which means you get to come on whenever the hell you want to because you help out a lot behind the scenes. Same thing goes with Kevin Homa. Same thing goes with Mr. Jack Dean. And same thing goes with any of our returning guests. So the unique part about both podcasts is there's a lot of crossovers and a lot of intertwining. You and Lucas even branched off and started your own podcast, New Management, which I think is pretty cool because you guys get to hear your own perspectives without my detail. Because behind the scenes, I kind of run the ships with both of the podcasts. I do all the editing, social media posts, promos. Obviously, me and you, we do our own conversations together, and we try and promote stuff together. But the unique part about both podcasts is the amount of guests that we've had on. But the big difference, and I can't stress this enough, is the uniqueness between me and you on Steel City and me and Lucas on Two Jagoffs. But sometimes we like to bend the rules and flip it up a little bit. So that's what I think is pretty cool.
Speak to the crossovers. A lot of people are trying to understand the point of the crossovers, specifically
Mhm.
between us two in our industry. We've had a lot of crossovers, mainly within the Point Park community. Kind of walk us through the process regarding how you determine a specific episode is going to be a crossover.
A lot of the crossover episodes are folks within Point Park University because, again, Steel City Commuters benefits you more than anything because you get to say, hey, I'm a 50% host of this podcast. But when you help me interview on Two Jagoffs, you're just kind of there as the second fiddle. So us doing a crossover actually helps you out a lot, Nick, because you get to say, hey, I actually took part in this. I'm 50% here. It's not like Austin is better or I'm better. We're both equal in this case scenario. So doing a crossover special allows me to kind of represent the Two Jagoff side of things and you to kind of represent the Steel City commuter side of things. And that's what brings both of our podcasts together. Although I'm obviously involved in both. You have more say there, I have more say here. So a crossover episode allows both of us to bring different ideas to the table. And not only that, whatever guest we're interviewing gets to say they've been on two podcasts at once, which is pretty darn cool if you ask me. The likes of President Brisalis, Dean Palo, Dean Ankney, and Ted Black have so far all been the ones that we've done crossovers with.
I'm curious, because you're a senior at Point Park University, where do you see two Jagoffs and Still City commuters ending up within the next 3 to 5 years?
Steel City Commuters, I'll be honest, I have no clue because I have a feeling it won't be as long as the other podcast just because A, it's not as established, and B, both me and you have very similar yet very different career paths. So I feel like we will eventually go our separate ways for the better part of our careers, and that's where Steel City will end. But definitely within the next year or so, I definitely see it gaining more traction. Now, two Jagoffs, this is where things are interesting. I have guests now requesting to be on, and if I accept every single person that has asked me to come on, Nick, I have episodes till March. March. That is where I'm at right now with planning out two Jagoffs, and it is only the middle of December since we've been recording this. So I'm very happy with the way it's going. I can tell you right now that two Jagoffs will hopefully have sponsors. I would love to monetize the podcast. Two Jagoffs will hopefully have a lot more content out, and my goal, daily promos, daily videos, clips from episodes, more social media, more behind the scenes, more vlogs. I would love to do more of the content creating side of things with both podcasts rather than just the interviews and sit down conversations.
What should the fans look forward to in 26? Anything different from 25? Is it a continuation of more bicker and more table slamming and more destruction?
Lots of destruction, lots of shenanigans will take place. We love our little Jagoff shenanigans, but the big difference is every year we've seen involvement into Jagoffs. Year one and year two, we were kind of figuring things out, learning the ropes. Then we bring Lucas on, we start doing some more game shows. Then we do some game shows specials where we had multiple guests on, like Jack and Kevin. Now, this year was more of the interview style. Next year, we're going to have a lot more of the returning guests. That's going to be the big episode in 2026 because the likes of some of the wrestlers that we've had on, some of the sports broadcasters that we've had on, we've already had the chance to bring back some guests. Kyle Archer and Andrew Palace returned to two Jagoffs Live. Robbie and Smikowski returned on multiple occasions. Matt Palangi returned on multiple occasions. So we've already seen some guests that we've interviewed this year return. And the big difference from this year in 2026 is we're going to see a lot more of that, especially after the NFL season.
Given you brought it up, I think it's a good time to talk about that real quickly. Two Jagoffs Lives was in partnership with Point Park's Day of Giving. Was that Thursday?
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
November.
October 27th?
Yes.
All right, see
Wednesday,
the date still.
October 29th. Wednesday,
I'm sorry,
October 29th.
October 29th.
It's
Date
stuck in my head.
stuck in your head. Can you speak to what that meant to you, given that really was your first main event as a Point Park speaker on behalf of themselves, and also what did it mean by going through a table to kind of end off the show?
It meant the absolute world to me, Nick. I mean, we did a whole episode on it, but to give a quick summary, it was such a cool experience. The fact that an entire university gave me the trust to essentially creatively book my own show from start to finish, the guest lineup, the questions, the entertainment value, who could be there, what we could do, and what we can make happen, and how we run production. That was all me behind the scenes. I mean, about 7 months of hard work behind the scenes led up to us not only reaching our $350,000 goal, but shattering it, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for our students, for our peers, for us to help us be able to chase a goal, chase a dream, reach an opportunity, and them allowing me to creatively be in tune with how things ran, me going through the table, me interviewing every single guest. I couldn't have asked for a better night. And most importantly, I had my friends there, I had my family there, I had some loved ones there, and I had people there to support me. And that was my first real big test on whether or not I can handle the big stage and the pressure. And if my table bump said anything, I feel like we did it, Nick. We did it.
Kudos to you on reaching 350,000,
I think it's over 67,000 now.
367,000. Okay,
Mhm.
so big kudos to you. Not sure anybody who could really do that, given your ambition, your strategy, your
Thank you.
likeness, and how you went about this. It was unique perspective, Point Park. So kudos to you. I think this is a great time to
Thank you.
continue the Point Park theme and continue your engagement with sports at Point Park University, not with just within Point Park, but also RMU. I think you've called stuff for
Carlo.
Duquesne,
Yep.
right? So
Carlo, Carlo.
Carlo. Anyways, you've done volleyball and I think you've done basketball, right?
Mhm.
You've done
Yes,
basketball.
sir.
Can you kind of speak to that? What it means, not only calling for Point Park, but also for other colleges? I mean, does
Of
other students
course.
get that opportunity?
Of course, let me just run through some of the sports that I've called this year, if you don't mind. I have called men's and women's soccer. I have called men's and women's basketball. I have called baseball. I have called wiffle ball. I have called football, pro wrestling, which we'll get into in a little bit, and I have called volleyball. So I have certainly called a dozen of sports. I've called for Carlo University. I've called for Point Park University. I've called for RMU University, and I've even done some work behind the scenes for Pitt. I've done stats, and I was a timeout coordinator for a men's soccer game. So I have certainly made my rounds in the sports world, especially here on the collegiate level. And I got to tell you, being able to work hand in hand with different universities and different programs really goes to show how, okay, Point Park may do A differently, but RMU does B differently. And then Carlo might do C differently, and then Pitt may do D. Every university does their own thing, which I think is pretty cool. And making those connections, whether it be the stat guy at RMU or whether it be one of the camera girls over at Carlo, who knows? Making a connection with that person could eventually lead you to a bigger opportunity down the line because they could work for somewhere and say, hey, I met this kid at a Carlo game. He was calling Carlo. Maybe he can do this. Or maybe this kid right here at Point Park can do this. And I got to tell you, Nick, that's how I got the gig doing the wiffle ball tournament this year. That was one of the biggest things of 2025. The 2025 NWLA Sheets wiffle ball tournament. I got to produce, direct, and even call several games for them, including a semifinals matchup, which was an amazing experience. But no, I've called a lot of sports this year. And to answer your question, I wouldn't have it any differently.
How does it come all about? How do you get the gigs? How do you get the opportunities? What advice would you give to people in this field, Point Park students, RMU students, trying to call
Post.
games and get
Post. Post, 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 post. I can't stress this enough, and you probably have heard me say this a million times, and kudos to you, Nick. You've been doing great at it. If you are working a game, I don't care if you're the camera person, if you're running stats, if you're directing, even if you are the water boy, take a picture of you in action, or at least a selfie of you doing something remotely close, and put it on social media. It bothers me so much that our generation uses their Instagram and Facebook accounts to post cool pictures of them in front of a car or their guys and girls out at a club or in a Halloween costume. No, we're on a bridge. Take a selfie or a picture of a person that you meet, a person that you connect with, or something that you did. Put it online and document that experience. Write a blog post on it. Simply say, hey, I'm so happy that I got to run camera tonight at RMU University. Looking forward to more opportunities like this down the line. Because somebody's going to see that and be like, hey, that kid right there is driven. That kid right there wants to run camera. That kid right there wants to be in this industry. But if you go to an Instagram page of somebody else, they're going to see 4 pictures of them and them like all dressed up all nice, sitting there weird poses. No, that's not what employers want to see, especially in our business. So my advice, take pictures. For example, I gave a speech earlier this year to my high school. I didn't have a chance to get pictures in the classroom because obviously it was high schoolers. I wasn't going to wave a whole flashy camera around. So what I did was, I was leaving the building. It was pouring down rain, Nick. I'm holding an umbrella. I took a selfie of me holding my umbrella up in front of the high school. I posted it online. Guess what? I got paid for that. I had people say, hey, maybe you can come give a speech here. Maybe you can come do this. People saw that and said, hey, we'll give this kid an opportunity elsewhere. So my big advice to get into those fields is the post. And to quote President Chris Salas, you got to show up too. Show up, make the connections, shake the right hand, and be yourself.
is calling sports hoping is something that you hope to do in the near future as a career?
Well, I know we'll probably get into this in a little bit, but calling professional wrestling specifically is what I want to do. But I'm an open book. I mean, if the Atlanta Falcons called me today, I will fly to Atlanta and be the new voice of the Falcons. It all depends.
Speaking of wrestling, I think that's another good topic to hit because that is your body, your mind, your soul, the way you want to put it, because that is your
My
expertise.
heart.
You've done a lot of wrestling gigs within the last few months, 880 and IWC specifically. Walk us through what the experiences are like, anything that stands out to you that you really didn't think that would stand out to you, and something that maybe people don't know about behind the scenes in the wrestling business.
All right, I'm going to go on a little bit of a story time here with Austin Cards, if you don't mind, Nick. So it started off earlier this year. I walked through the doors of IWC in December of 2024, and I shook the hand of Justin Plummer. And I said, Justin, I would love an opportunity to eventually do commentary work for you. Obviously, I know that you have positions filled, so any kind of foot in the door would be greatly appreciated. Whatever you need me to do, I am here. I am willing to help the show. From then, he connected me with Jeremy, who is their video production guy. He's the one that runs everything for their 2-to-1 media services. And I started off helping edit the shows and actually pull cable, run camera, set up and tear down equipment before and after the shows. This was my way of getting backstage, connecting with the wrestlers, connecting with the right people that I needed to. That eventually led me to a couple of months of helping on the video crew until one day I get the call, hey, we want to put you on commentary. We're going to try you out. I said, absolutely. I could not be more ecstatic. I remember the exact location I was at. I was just dropping Lucas off after an episode of Two Jagoffs. I was on the phone with Kevin. I quickly joined the Zoom call. I'm like, holy hell, I'm about to call IWC. Next thing you know, I call IWC. I make a good enough impression with them. They say, keep showing up and we'll keep giving you opportunities. From there, started getting a few matches every month. 880 started about a month I called I called 880 up. I said, hey, let me get my foot in the door here too. KC War, who I'm very close with. I love you, KC. He actually connected me with Sorg, their video production guy, and then kind of the same story. I started off doing video work. That eventually led me to then doing commentary once a spot opened up. Now I'm calling two different wrestling companies. From there, I've even had opportunities to work AEW, which is a big one that I'm definitely going to talk about with you, Nick, because that right there is the second biggest wrestling company in the world. AEW is massive. And that was probably my best experience of the year by far. 2025, AEW was the best thing that happened to me. That even led me an opportunity to work for a new company, Canadian Deathmatch. I got the call wrestling for them now, and starting in 2026, I'll be doing their shows, hopefully, with my buddy Toddy Tondera. So overall, the way I got these gigs was by showing up, by doing the groundwork, paying my dues essentially, which is pretty much doing the stuff you don't want to do, but you have to do. And then when the job opened up, I said, let's jump on it. And Nick, I'm all dressed up right now. I just got done calling wrestling tonight. And guess what? I would have it no differently anywhere else. I would love to do some work with Enjoy or Rise or any other companies as well. I'm throwing my name out in the hats because I would love to do stuff with them if possible. But as of right now, I'm happy with IWC. I'm happy with 880. I'm happy with Canadian Deathmatch. And I'm hoping for big things in the wrestling scene in 2026.
Do you see a pattern carry over at all, or some kind of similar arbitraries or similar scenarios in wrestling through all the different wrestling businesses?
For sure. Now, it's kind of weird because every place that I go is respectfully different because the locker room is different, the video crews are different, the owners are different, the promoters are different. But I've been welcomed with open arms in both. I hope this answers your question. I've been welcomed in open arms with both. Everybody has been nice to me. They see the hard work I've been doing because I post on social media all the time. We just talked about all the podcasting work and other freelance work that I do. So they know that I don't only just call wrestling. I do other work and other things within the media and social media realm. So I'm pretty well established there to the point where they can look at me and give me at least some sort of respect and say, hey, this isn't just some dumb 22-year-old looking for clout. He's actually coming in here for a purpose and reason. So I've been welcomed with open arms, but you can definitely see the differences within certain companies and within certain backstage policies, but nothing that's like alarming. Both of them are like families to me. I feel welcome there and I love both places and I wouldn't ask for any different.
What do you hope to do with one of these wrestling companies within the near future?
I would
A
love to go.
full-time job? I mean, what do you hope to do with your career, given you want to specifically focus on wrestling?
Well, obviously, IWC and 880 won't pay the bills, respectfully. So I would hopefully love to go mainstream. The WWE is my ultimate dream. It's my ultimate goal. Off the record, I know that off record, on record, I guess you can kind of say now that we're on camera, but let's just say I may or may not have some connections within both major wrestling companies, and I'm going to hopefully be trying out with both of these when I graduate in 2026. I'm also weighing in the options of staying for a master's degree, so I kind of have my plate full right now, and I'm picking and choosing what exactly I want to eat first. So I would love to go mainstream, Nick. That's a dream that me and you've talked about a lot off camera, and I've talked about vocally on both of the podcasts. But wherever life takes me, I would be happy. WWE is the ultimate dream, the ultimate goal. But if AEW calls me up, I was already elite once. I'm known as 880's most elite right now. I'm down to make either one happen.
I think this is a great time to talk about travel because it sounds like you travel a lot, and I think that's a perfect segue. We traveled last year, or you traveled to DC, we traveled to New York City, but let's just be honest, you've been all over the goddamn map.
Yes, I
Plain and
have.
simple. You've been down to West Virginia, you've been down to Virginia for some wrestling. Sounds like Canadian Deathmatch, you have to go to Canada, so you'll be crossing the border and hopefully you'll be allowed back in. If not, I don't know who to contact.
I
But
don't either.
can you speak to the traveling part of it and what makes traveling so great in the sports industry and wrestling industry?
I love traveling, dude. I love it. Me and you talked about it on our New York City trip, and I think that bonded us together perfectly because we both understand that, hey, in this career, you're not going to be able to stay put in one city. Hey, yeah, you may always find a way back home to Pittsburgh, but at the end of the day, if you can't travel to New York or you can't travel across the country or across the border, you're not going to make it in this career. You got to be able to leave your home. And that's something that I've always wanted to do. That's something I couldn't quite afford to do all the time with my family was to travel, was to get out of state more, was to get out, explore new places, meet new people, try new things. And wrestling specifically has given me that opportunity. You pointed out our New York City trip. That was probably my favorite trip I took this year because that was a 3 day experience in New York City, the Today Show, NBC Studios, Carson Daly, Al Roker, Antonio Hilton. You name the connections. We made them. We met them. We made it happen. Cleveland, Ohio was a big one. Kevin and I traveled to the Great Lakes Brewery. I called an entire wrestling event on my own, first time ever. A lot of fun matches that I got to call. Washington, D.C. is always great. I've been there before in the past, but it was pretty cool exploring the whole city on my own. I thought that was pretty unique. I've been to Erie. I've been to West Virginia on several occasions. I've been down to Maryland actually as well this year. And I'm looking in 2026 to travel a lot more. I would love to go a little more west. I'm not the farthest west I've gone was Kansas City. So I would love to certainly try and get out to the Midwest and West Coast a little bit more. Definitely Canada, Toronto, Hamilton. Those are the big ones I want to hit in 2026. I would love to return back to Florida. I've not been there since 2023, so I'd love to get back down there. I know you actually had a vacation in Florida this past year, so that was pretty cool, if I'm not mistaken. Was it this year? Yeah,
Yes.
it was this year. Yeah, so you were in Florida, you lucky son of a gun. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, no, travel is big in this business. Travel is key, and it's something that I pleasantly enjoy. I feel like without travel, you're never gonna be open to trying new things and seeing new things because once you get accustomed to one place, it's kind of hard to leave it. Trust me, I can speak to from experience. But this year has definitely been the year I have gotten the most miles put on my life. And 2026, I'm looking to quadruple it.
What do you hope to accomplish by traveling
Like professionally or personally?
professionally?
Make connections. Simple as that. And not only that, it looks so good on a resume that you said, "Hey, I traveled here and did this." Because you can easily say, and this is advice as well to some of our peers. You can easily say, "Yeah, I called games for Point Park University." Cool. Awesome. You have experience, you've done stuff before, we can put it in a demo on a resume. But would you rather hire the person that's only called for the university that they've attended? Or would you rather hire the person that traveled to Cleveland, that traveled to Morgantown, that traveled to New York City, Atlanta, Columbia? You see the theme here? If you traveled and you put the miles in, that shows an extra level of dedication. And I'm not saying our peers don't have that. A lot of our peers do. I know some of our peers have gone over to Youngstown State, Ohio. Some of our peers have done stuff with Duquesne and Pitt, which is incredible. Some of our peers have done stuff even over in Philly, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of people within our Point Park circle and that we've known just that's around our age that does make those trips. And those are the people that's going to make it because those people right there are saying, hey, it doesn't matter where you're at. I'll come to you. I'll come to you to put the work in. And that right there stands out. So travel is important to me professionally because it shows that I care and it shows that I'm willing to show up.
What's your end goal in traveling and professional wrestling? What's your end state of mind?
End state of mind is to live out a lifelong dream. Obviously, like I said before, WWE is the place I would love to end up. But if you want a more specific goal, essentially, I would love to be the play-by-play commentator for one of the major companies. I've always looked up to the likes of Michael Cool, Corey Graves, Vic Joseph. It's hard not to say Jim Ross, but I didn't really grow up in that era. Tony Schiavone, Excalibur. And I've had the chance to actually meet some of these commentators at AEW. I've met Excalibur. I've met Taz. I've met Tony Schiavone. I've spoken with Corey Graves on several occasions through social media. So I already have connections with these top tier professional wrestling commentators. And these are the people that I one day would love to work with, maybe be the successor to, or maybe even be a contributor to. I would love to explore the options of being a manager too. I would love to manage a wrestler. I don't per se want to get in the ring. I mean, you've seen me get my butt kicked on a couple of occasions. I don't think I would do too well holding my own in the squared circle, but I would not mind supporting someone that is doing a mission in the squared circle. So there's a lot of different factors and a lot of different fun things that I want to play around with in my career. But the end goal is to definitely make it to the WWE, and to be the voice of something.
You want to wind off by telling the audience maybe something they don't know about you?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple actually. So one of them that I wanted to speak about, if you don't mind, was another place I traveled this year, the U.S. Open.
Right.
That was one of my favorite things I did this year was in Oakmont. It was over in your neck of the woods, kind of. Well, that's close enough. Closer to you than it is me. But Oakmont was fun. I had a lot of fun over there. I got to meet a lot of the professional golfers. Grant Horvat, he was cool. We got to see Scotty Scheffler, got to see a couple others. It was a fun experience, and that was something a lot of people don't know about me because a lot of people don't think I like golf. But the one thing that people probably don't like know about me the most, and then if you don't mind, I'm gonna follow up with a question for you. One thing that people don't know about me most is that I procrastinate a lot of things, but at the same time, I plan a lot of things. I'm probably the biggest planner, but the biggest procrastinator. So what I'll do is me and you will plan stuff out months in advance. We'll be ready to go. Okay, this is the episode. But at the same time, I may not get to something or an email that I wanted to in a day or two. So I'm really good about getting stuff done, but I'm also really good at not getting stuff done. So I'm a different bubble. I'm a different breed. But go ahead.
You said you had a question for me?
Yeah, I wanted to actually go back to the podcast question if you didn't mind. So we did a lot of interviews this year, and I wanted to get I guess we can kind of go around the table here. I'm going to kind of flip the script on you. What was your favorite interview that you got from a fan's perspective? I'll give you my favorite as an interview perspective. I'd never opened up about this, and I would love to in this episode if you don't mind.
Sure, go right ahead.
Well, give me your answer first.
From a fan perspective, so
Actually, no. You've done fan perspective. Give me your favorite from an interview perspective, and I'll give you mine. And you can do Steel City too, obviously, because that you were part of that.
well, I really didn't do many on two Jagoffs.
You've done five,
I done
four,
five.
four.
Four.
Ted Black, Dean Payload, Dean Ankney, Chris Prasalis, right?
They were all Steel City crossovers.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Give me Ted Black only
Ooh.
because we went to the Duquesne Club
Of course.
exclusively.
That was another thing we did in 2025.
I mean, of course, Chris Brusalis paid it forward. Sherry Payne paid it forward. Um, Keith Palo paid it forward. But an end result was actually going to the Duquesne Club. We got an end result out of something that we never expected. So shout out to Ted.
Shout out to Ted. Um, my favorite interview, I always say Andrew Palace just because of how cool and how close we were together in that interview. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I've had a lot of good interviews this year. I've had a lot of really fun ones.
Pin me down one.
I'm gonna give you a shocker. David Lawless was one of my favorites I've done this year. David Lawless for the specific reason that he gave me a lot to work with as a wrestler. He was in character, he was also himself. I pleasantly enjoyed that one, but I think I liked every interview this year. I don't think I've had one bad interview where I look back on it and I go, "Oh my God, I published that." Every interview was fun that I've done. I mean, the likes of what? Like Joe Dombrowski, Nick Lendl, Toddy Tondera, Greg Brown, that's a big one. Bill Hillgrove, that's another big one. Robbie Inspikowski like four different times. These were amazing episodes. All amazing. Love them dearly.
I could have picked Robbie, but he tortured me too much in one episode.
He did torture you.
So
He also
there's no way that I could have picked him.
shout out to Robbie Inspikowski. We love him.
Anyways, Austin, it's always good catching up with you. I have to do these more often. I mean, we see each other often, but we actually don't get to have a longer form conversation. And getting our brand out there and getting our business is the most important in this business in this industry, given where we want to end up.
Of course, couldn't agree with you more on that. Thank you again so much for the opportunity, Nick, to hop on Zoom and speak with you. This was a fun episode. And I'm happy to announce that, if you don't mind, in closing, I would like to say this. 2025 was the year of figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. And the reason why I wanted to do this episode so badly with Nick, and Nick, I apologize for bugging you the last couple days about doing this with me, but thank you so much for making the time to do so. I really appreciate it. I have been wanting to do an episode like this where I've kind of gotten to do a big recap because for anybody that's listening out there, whether it's peers of ours, whether it's friends of ours, family of ours, or just even fans of ours, just know that I am currently 22 years of age. Nicholas Brown is a soon-to-be 20-year-old. We are both young. We both have a big future ahead, long plans, and something that somebody has said to me recently, I won't name names, actually I will, it was Ted Black. We love Ted Black. He said that we are one day going to make it. We're going to be at the Duquesne Club one day. We're going to have a lot of money. We're going to have a nice job. And I believe we can. I believe that I have surrounded myself with amazing people because all those experiences I've talked about before, whether it's been IWC, 880, whether it's been New York City, Negative Outlook, even that's another fun one. U.S. Open, Steelers training camp, the Riverhounds game that we went to together, some of the Penguins games that I went to, my Pirates tour. I got to tour the entire Pirates Stadium with Greg Brown and be in the press room and everything. That was a fun experience this year. None of that would have been possible without the amazing friend group and supporting cast that I have. So I want to give some shout outs to a few men. First and foremost, I got to shout out my parents, sister. They're the biggest supporters. My dad, especially, because he has been a contributor on the podcast himself. Number two is Lucas Coons. Lucas, thank you so much for all the stuff that you do. I know I give you a lot of, excuse my French, shit behind the scenes, but you have actually stepped up your game this year. And my advice to you, if you're listening, Lucas, is to stop focusing on the things you can't focus on and control the controllable. Because if you can control the things that you can't control in life, I'm guaranteeing you, you're going to be the best damn prodigy to come out of Point Park. Kevin, Carl, whatever you go by now, thank you so much for everything that you do. I know that you associate with the leaders by example, but that's okay. Well, I'll forgive you for that. Thank you for being the best friend that I could ever ask for. Mr. Jack Dean, I don't know if you're my clone. I don't know what you are now. I haven't seen you in months, but whenever I see you next, I'll make sure to give you a can of Pringles. And last but not least, Nicholas Brown, my guy. You're rocking that red Under Armour shirt that you know I don't like at all. But I will tell you this. Thank you for being the best friend that I could ask for and the best person that I've met over the last year. Because I have gone through a lot of rough times over the last couple years. I've had a lot of things coming in and coming out of my life that I don't want to talk about here. But to keep this short and sweet, if it wasn't for someone like you to bring the best out of me, to keep me on my toes, to tell me when I'm right, and to definitely tell me when I'm wrong, this podcast wouldn't be possible. Any of the podcasts that we do wouldn't be possible. And all the shit that we've done this year wouldn't have been possible. So thank you for being the best person I can support. Thank you for lending me some money and also covering me on some of my lunches when you know I'm broke. Everything that you've done for me has been the absolute world, and none of this would have been possible. So, Nick, you are the man. That is downtown Nick Brown. You're going to be one of the best in your careers. Mark my words.
Well, thank you, Austin. I really do appreciate that and all the shout outs. But I think the biggest takeaway is when you have a friend group and you have this support group and you're with these people, including myself, for a very long time, you all rub off on each other and everybody works together and will always find a way to support each other no matter what we're going through.
I could not agree with that statement more, Nick. We all bring the best out of each other. We also all kind of bring the worst out of each other because, I mean, we're all guys. We're all like to screw around a little bit. But no, in all seriousness, I really do appreciate and love all you guys. And yeah, I think that this not only will be a big 2026 for me, but this will be a big 2026 for all of you. And this will be a big 2026 in general.
Most definitely. Austin, thanks as always for the time. Always good to catch up with you because I know you're busy.
I'm too busy. I need to sleep.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you made it this far into the video, we really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, follow, because again, more of these videos and more of these kind of formats are going to be coming your way exclusively. Facebook, YouTube, wherever you find us, because we're everywhere. We're LinkedIn. We're the LinkedIn bros, they call us.
We are the LinkedIn bros. Screw Mario and Luigi. Who needs the Super Mario Bros? You got the LinkedIn bros.
We got the LinkedIn bros. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Austin, for your time, and we'll
Thank you.
catch you on the next one. Peace.